Hey guys, and welcome to the latest Kronos AV Review Diaries. Today we want to take a look at the Audiolab 9000P. Now this is one of the power amps from Audiolab. It's one of the more, I guess you would say, entry-level models, but it does offer a lot of value for money and is the perfect way to get into pre-powers, particularly if you've been using integrateds up to this point. The 9000p comes in at £1,099, so it's a really well priced power amplifier. As I say, it's perfect if you've maybe been using integrateds up to this point and you want to explore going into separate pre-power systems. There is obviously massive advantages to that, but the Audiolab is pretty much a great way to break yourself in. It's a great upgrade path if you've been using integrateds maybe up to this point, and there's a lot of potential with this amplifier as well. So to give you a little bit of the spec towards the 9000p, you've got 100 watts per channel and 8 ohms. It then goes to 160 watts if your speaker drops, say, to 4 ohms, for example. When you run this in a monoblock or bridged setup, it can go up to 380 watts into 4 ohms. So there's an abundance of power there, really. There's no issue with it working with a wide range of speakers. Your speaker choices, therefore, can be vast. Really, the only thing we would say when you've got an amplifier like this that has lots of power, it doesn't really suit very high sensitivity speakers. Obviously, it will drive them, of course, that's not the issue, but it tends to be a bit overblown. The amplifier is sort of on tick over, if you like, and therefore you're not really getting the best out of the amp, and the speakers are almost, getting too much power. We tend to find it makes them a little bit bright, a little bit overblown in the bass and things like that. Obviously, high sensitivity speakers are designed for less powerful amps, so that tends to be what's the best option. But for the majority of speakers in the market, something like this is going to work perfectly. And as I mentioned before, you can also monoblock this. So this, obviously, as it sits at the moment, isn't a stereo power amp. So this will power both your speakers. You can then essentially bridge these. There's a button on the back here, which you click, which moves it into mono mode. So you can actually upgrade by purchasing 2 of these power amps, having a power amp for each of your speakers. Obviously, a lot more power, and each speaker obviously then has its own power source essentially. So there's lots of reasons why mono blocking, of course, is very, very useful and a huge advantage to do. But what we like about this is the fact it gives you an upgrade path. So as I say, these are approximately £1,100. So you can buy one, use it in stereo mode initially, and then when money allows, your funds allowed, you have that upgrade path where you can add a second one, which again will just take your sound to a new level. But again, the Audiolab does everything you really need it to. Obviously, you've got balanced XLRs here at the rear. You've also obviously got single-ended, and there's just a switch basically to move between XLR and single end as well. Real high quality binding posts. Full AAC, of course. You can upgrade mains cables again, which we always do recommend, particularly in power amps, because of course they draw a lot of power. So you really do want a mains cable that's capable of obviously essentially giving it the fuel it needs to obviously perform to the best of its ability. With Audiolab, of course, it's built extremely well, as you'd expect. Very well-known company, highly reputable, and I mean, design-wise, it's exactly what you need from a power amp. You've your on-off button here in the front. There's nothing really else you need. Once it's on, obviously everything can then be controlled through your preamp. So it's nice and simple to use. You've got your options for connections. It's really well priced, lots and lots of power, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for people. As I say, with the preamp, obviously there is a matching Audiolab 9000 Pre. What a lot of people actually do is sometimes go for a valve preamp. The nice thing about doing that is that you get the warmth and the naturalism of the valves in the preamp stage, but then you get all the power of the Class A B power amp. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. But again, that depends on your musical tastes, whether you want to go down that valve route or whether you want to stick to a more, Class A B. Obviously, the 9000 Pre is the ideal match to this. That's going to give you the best synergy. But if you do want to look at something like a valve Pre, running it with something like the Audiolab is ideal. Audiolab as a brand is generally very universal. It's not overly picky about what it's matched with. As I say, therefore your speaker choice is vast. But this will give you incredible dynamics, a much wider sound stage, because your speakers essentially have got an abundance of power just to be able to really express themselves. They're really, really natural, the Audiolab products. It's very, very neutral in its presentation. Having that sort of power behind it also means you get nice punchy bass. So anything like rock music, anything that has that sort of depth to the sound will be really, really fantastic on this. But as well as that, what we like about the Audiolab is it is quite controlled. So we do even see in classical music where there's a lot of dynamic range, the Audiolab works brilliantly. It does control the tops really nicely. And as I say, it's quite neutral. So no matter what you're matching it with, it tends to work really, really well. So the one we have here, of course, as well, just to let you know, is this is a silver version. It does come in black as well. So obviously there is a couple of options there to suit your own needs. But yeah, I think if you do want to look at getting into a pre-power, or maybe you've changed your speakers and you need to look into new amplification, definitely check out the 9000 range in general, but the 9000P power amp is perfect. If you have any questions about mono blocking, and the differences between obviously stereo like this and mono blocking them, and the connections you need, if you have any questions about matching preamps, etc., please always feel free to ask. We're more than happy to help answer any questions you have. And obviously, again, this has been a super quick overview video of the 9000P. We can go into much more detail. So if you want more advice or information on any of these Audiolab products, please do let us know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this quick overview video, and I hope you get a chance to hear the 9000P soon. See you soon in the next one.